Hello, everybody. I'm Eric J. Chambers, and welcome to the Cut Chronicles, where we chronicle urban life. You know, Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and what I've decided to do in honor of Thanksgiving, which is a family time of the year, I've decided to honor a family. They are the first family of gospel music, the Winans family, and this coming Sunday, beginning at 8 a.m. on my Jazzspel radio show on Smooth Jazz KIFM 98.1 HD2 here in beautiful Southern California, I'm putting together a program called Winans To The Maxx. And basically, we're going to max out the program with the Winans. There's the Winans, BB and CC Winans. There's also Angie and Debbie Winans. There is Winans Phase 2, Daniel, Vicky, and there even may be a cat or a dog that might decide to sing. You cannot grow up in the Winans family without being musically inclined. And as a part of the festivities, I was so excited to speak to my friend Michael and say, let's do this. Let's share it with the people. Let's talk about family and what it means to just to them and, of course, to the world at large, because, of course, again, you guys are the first family of gospel music. Joining us on the program is Michael and Regina Winans.
Hello,
Michael and Regina.
Hey.
And then we also have joining us on the program their gifted nephew and his beautiful wife. We have Juan and Lisa Winans.
Hello.
All right.
Hey.
Hello.
So this is an opportunity for a husband and wife. You guys are in two different cities, right?
Yes.
We are, yeah.
Okay, where are you, Juan?
Temporarily.
Okay.
We're that Yeah. We're not always in two different let's clarify that.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you decided to make some time in your schedule for us to do this and have a little mini family reunion right here on Facebook Live and on YouTube. So Thank you guys.
Fantastic. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Oh, without question. We're going to begin with Michael and Regina Winans. Michael and Regina, of course, the COVID-19 has been just devastating all over the nation. It's been devastating in relationships. It's been devastating in so many ways. Tell us, how have you guys been able to cope with this insidious disease?
Well, you know what? There's nothing like being closer,
Mm-hmm.
to your mate. And me and Regina's always been close. So now, with the pandemic, it's even better.
Be closer, yeah. We're just doing what we always did. We're always together. We're always doing whatever, but we're just always together. So it was nothing is new to us because this is what we always do. So it was been pretty easy for us.
Yes.
Thank God.
Has there been any challenges for you
we've
guys?
heard a lot of stories though.
Any challenges for you guys during this time?
No,
Well-
not that, as far as relationship is concerned.
No.
As far as work is concerned, that took pretty much of a backseat. Ministering before people, concert halls, churches, even marriage seminars.
Yeah, we do marriage ministry. So yeah.
Yeah. So yes, it affected us that way. But God is good.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Okay. And
Yes,
how
he is.
about Juan and Lisa? How about the two of you? What has life been like during COVID?
Well, I mean, we're doing well. I don't know, that we're doing as well as the vets are. But, I feel like the same, Juan and I are together a lot. We've fell in love just hanging out. So the close proximity is nothing new to us. But I think not being able to see our friends, not being able to go out and do some of the things that we love that really keep us inspired and excited about life has been difficult. It's been challenging. And so we've had to find different ways to maneuver around this and just go out on runs or, bike rides or different kind of ways to connect in the pandemic.
Well, one thing about the pandemic is it has challenged people to see either how much they really love each other or how much they really dislike each other. Juan, what has been the key for you, my man, being able to stay in just staying in love with your bride?
Oh, well, I think the number one, the name of the game for me, I think, is gratitude. And it's gratitude. And I think early on, Lisa and I both kind of decided that, COVID-19 and the quarantine and the shutdown and the lockdown this and the lockdown that was either going to be something that that hurt us, or that we had an opportunity to kind of see, okay, God, what are you saying a little bit beneath the surface in all of this? And for us, a lot of it was just realigning with some things that God has wanted us to do, kind of realigning our priorities. And I think COVID has been obviously a really devastating thing for a lot of people across the country and across the world. But for us, while it's been tough, like Uncle Mike said, ministering, it's had a toll on our economic status, all of those things. But at the end of the day, we have family that is alive and well and healthy. We have a child who's healthy. And so a lot of it has just been an opportunity to reassess what is really important. Where do our priorities lie? And are they in line with God's word, and try to make some adjustments in that way. But it hasn't been easy. But it's been beneficial, I think.
Awesome. And of course, you guys have a family member or two who actually contracted it, right?
Yeah, I think Uncle Marvin was in the hospital for a little over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a trying time. We were on family Zooms praying and believing God for his healing, and believing God. Just we all move around a lot. We come in contact with a lot of different people, and early on, we saw Uncle Marvin a week before he was sick. And so we're thinking, well, how many of us were exposed? My mom was down there, my daughter. So, you just have all these conversations, but ultimately just praying and believing God. We had a victorious testimony, but we know there are a lot of families who didn't have the same testimony. And so we're sympathetic to that and still praying for those people as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. You want to add something, Mike?
Oh, no, I think he said it all. We came together in prayer, and and God did it all. Okay. So he's fine today and strong, and probably have to slow him down.
And Mike, you come from a big family. How many? It was like 10 of you guys? Siblings?
Oh yeah, 10. I mean, the noise never stopped. The action just kept on going, and that's what we were used to. But it was great. I thought I had one of the greatest childhoods ever a kid can ever have.
And were your parents
no sleep? You had to be quick when it came to the table. It taught you a lot.
And how strict were your parents? Were you able to listen to secular music as you were growing up?
Only in hiding, Okay. They called us, we paid a price. You talked it out right then and got a whooping behind it. But you can't help but hear it because you have friends. You go to school, things like that. And yeah, couldn't help getting around. People like Stevie Wonder and things like that. Yeah.
Who were some of your favorite artists growing up? Who inspired you?
Oh man, let's argue. Gosh, Donny Hathaway. Just the tone alone, was just very incredible. I like the simplicity when it came to Roberta Flack. Mm-hmm. People don't understand on how the simplest way to express a song, let people understand what you're saying. And that's what I understood every word that came out of Roberta Flack's mouth. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget that. What you think? Yeah.
And Regina, who were some of your inspirational, who was your music inspiration growing up?
Well, I grew up in the Church of God in Christ.
Okay.
And so I'm one of 5 children. I have 3 sisters and 1 brother, and I'm the middle child. And so I just been raised in church all of my life. And it's not that we didn't hear other music, things like that. But I grew up around Clark sisters, people like that, Rance Allen, Vanessa Bell Armstrong. We all sung in choir with Maddie. So that was that gospel sound. That was pretty much my inspiration. Not that I didn't hear other songs. We live in life. We live every day. We're out at the stores. They play everything, in the stores and so forth. But pretty much mine was all gospel artists. And that choir, I do like choirs, but I'm a person of words. I've paid very close attention to words and what things mean before I even get into like the beat and the tone and things like that. I'm a word person, so I strictly pay attention to words.
Nice. And how about you, Lisa? Where did you grow up, and who were your inspiration back in the day musically?
So I was born in Oberlin, Ohio, and my mother got saved when she was pregnant with me at an Andre Crouch concert. Nice. And I think had it not been for that, my life would have been dramatically different. But I praise God for that. And I was not allowed to listen to secular music either. Wow. But I have vivid memories of sneaking out of the house. Or not really sneaking out of the house because we were allowed to play, but going out of the house and going to a neighbor's house. And his name was Chase. And we would put on Michael Jackson, Beat It, and just listen to the album. And I just remember listening to that album over and over and over again and being completely transfixed and learning about melodies and pop sensibilities. And then I must admit, as I got older, listening to the Winans, listening to, Vivi and Cece was a huge, huge part of my musical journey. And so it's really amazing, at this point to be in such an amazing family.
Awesome. And you, Juan, who was your musical inspiration? I know you didn't have to look much farther than your own house, but.
No, I'm laughing because, my dad, Carvin, is known in maybe circles small and wide for being the more lenient Winans in terms of his listening music proclivities. So I definitely heard it sounds like more secular music than all of you combined. So I did. I remember having cassette tapes of Donny Hathaway in the house. That was hugely impactful and informative for me. Even before, I never wanted to sing until I was about 16, but I knew what good singing was. Obviously, I come from a family of great singers, but that's so close to home, literally, that you it's easy to maybe gloss over that a little bit until you get a little bit older, and then you have a real appreciation for it. But Donny Hathaway, I remember Layla Hathaway's first album coming out and having some songs on it that I was just in love with. So, growing up in Detroit, there was music everywhere. I'm a huge Motown fan. I love a lot of soul music, Sam Cooke. A lot of those singers really informed kind of my love for music and melody. And then, of course, all the pop, the Michael Jacksons of the. So, yeah.
Speaking of Michael Jackson, Michael, you had a chance to sing with him on Man in the Mirror. And I know that Andre Crouch, my late friend and pastor, orchestrated that. What was that experience like for you with Michael? Last night I had an artist by the name of Will Downing on, and Will had a chance to sing with him at the Grammys. But he mentioned that it was one of those things like, don't talk to Michael, don't wave at Michael, no pictures. But you said you did have an opportunity to spend some time with him. What was that like?
It was interesting, in a good way. In a good way. We were out here in California at the studio, and once me and my brothers arrived, Quincy Jones and our manager, Derek Hankerson, was there. And I came in, I had my camera and all that. And I said, "Where's Michael at? I would love to put him on camera for my children and my wife." And they said, "No way." I said, "Where's he at?" I can take the answer no, but it can possibly be a yes. So they showed me where he was, and I went up to him and I asked him, I said, "Michael, I would love to put you on camera." He said, "You know what, Mike?" He said, long as it's for you, and your children, it's fine.
Wow.
Put them on camera. And he was talking to Regina, talking to little Mike, talking to Shay, and we just had a ball. I can't tell you where that tape is right now. I know it's very valuable, but I promised them I wouldn't sell it.
That's
But it was
awesome.
great.
Well, that's awesome. And of course, both of you as couples are singers. You guys are a duo together. What is that like working with your significant other, with your spouse, having a chance to minister all across the country, beginning with Juan and Lisa?
Well, it's great. I think my end with Lisa, I met her at church, and then finally she came out to lunch one Sunday, and I found out that in her group Out of Eden that they were incredibly successful, but that she was the primary writer and producer for those songs. And so as a songwriter, I thought, oh, this is great. Like, let's collaborate, right? Let's collaborate. Let's get together. And, that was kind of my angle. I needed an end. So that was my end. So we've been writing ever since and collaborating. It's been great. Some of my most kind of favorite songs that I've written to this day are collaborations with Lisa. I think she's one of the most talented, gifted people that I've met. And so it's really a privilege to be able to do. It's fun.
That's so nice of you to say that. I love working with Juan. Like he said, we met and started writing songs together, and that's really the gateway to us falling in love. And it's just wonderful to be able to combine our talents, our giftings into our purpose, and to be used by God in that way, that God can use our marriage and use our ministry is really an amazing experience, and I love it.
And of course, you guys have a brand new single out. It's called what is it? You Belong.
It belongs to me.
It belongs to me. Yeah, there it is. It belongs to me. Let's take a look at it, and then we'll come back and comment on it. Okay.
All right.
It belongs to me. Salvation belongs to me. And I have everything that makes salvation complete. I know the work is already done by the power of His blood. I know it's mine. It belongs to me. Hey, and it belongs to me. Healing belongs to me. And I have everything that makes my healing complete. It doesn't matter how I feel. When His stripes say I am healed, I know it's mine. Yes, it is. It belongs to me. Yeah. And it belongs to me. All blessing belongs to me. When He laid down His life that we could live abundantly, my heart's desires are fulfilled, and it's according to His will. I know it's mine. Oh, hallelujah. It belongs to me. Hey, and it belongs to me. Heaven belongs to me. Hey, to live eternally with our Savior, with my Savior and King.
I like that.
Outstanding, man. I love that song. And the first time I heard it over the summer, I debuted it immediately on my Jazzspel
Thank
program, my radio show on Smooth Jazz 98.1 KIFM San Diego. Tell me how that song came about and who wrote it. Did you guys tag
Yeah,
team
we
on
did.
it? Or?
First of all, thank you so much for playing it. Like that never gets old to hear. So we're always grateful to hear that. Thank you so much. It's a song that came about literally just being in the car and God dropped that melody. I know that sounds probably cliche, but that's how it happened. And it was like, it belongs to me. It belongs to me. And finally I just said, God, well, what belongs to us? And slowly but surely, God it's really the story of salvation. Our first encounter with God is salvation through Jesus Christ. So that first stanza is salvation belongs to me. And I know it's done by the power of his blood. And then it talks about healing and every blessing. And ultimately, eternity with God belongs to us. Heaven belongs to us. And so it's really just the gospel message, hopefully in a song that will encourage people. And then it talks about some of the promises, not all of them. There are thousands, literally thousands of promises that God has made us in his word. And this just touches on a few: peace, hope, salvation, love,
freedom.
Yeah. Freedom, yeah.
Well, you guys did a phenomenal job with it.
Yeah.
I played it I don't know how many times, and even when I'm not on my radio program, I found myself humming it all day and night.
Oh, praise God.
And it will be a part of Winans To The Maxx this coming Sunday. So it belongs to me. And of course, on the original recording, your uncle Marvin Winans is on it.
He is. The funny thing is, when I first started hearing this melody, I heard it in his voice. And I couldn't determine if that was because he has my favorite voice or if there was like more purpose behind it. So as we started to finish the song, I sent it to him and crickets, nothing, no response. So
Normal.
I said, he's not very technological.
Michael, welcome to your world, huh?
Yeah, right.
Normal, yeah.
So I send it again, nothing. 4 months go by. I happen to be in Detroit with Lisa. We go to his house because my little brother got married, and he said, "Oh, Juan, come to the piano. Let's hear you sing." And I said, speaking of, I sent you a song. He said, "Oh man, I love that song." And he sat down at the piano and started to play it. He knew the words, and I couldn't figure for the life of me, why didn't you call me? You've been leaving me hanging. Like, you like the song? So I said, "Well, Uncle, will you record it with us?" And he said, "I will be honored to. I think it's anointed, so count me in." And that was like a dream come true. It's not just, he's doing this thing because he's our uncle. It really was a dream for both of us to be in the studio with him, to have him say, "Yeah, I'll do this," and be a part of it. Yeah, it was really a dream come true.
Fantastic. Michael and Regina, you guys have been married for 39 years now?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
We're going to have a big 40th next year.
That's right. And you don't even look like you barely look like you're 39, and you've been married for 39 years. So what is it like for the two of you having an opportunity to minister together? And of course, I was blessed to have you guys as a part of my Festival of the Jazzspel at the San Diego Fair about 3 or 4 years ago.
That was sweet.
Yes.
That was
You
nice.
know how to throw a party, buddy.
Oh, yeah. I've been doing it for 30 years, and this was supposed to be the 31st year at the fair, but because of COVID, it didn't happen. So prayerfully, we'll get back out there next year, and then hopefully we can even get Juan and Lisa to come and bless us and do a
They're gonna love that.
They're gonna love to.
Yes.
I love ministering with my husband. I mean, he's my best friend. I mean, we actually knew each other 2.5 years before we actually got married.
Yeah.
And so people always ask me, they're like, "Did you have to audition to marry your husband?" I'm like, "Audition?" I was like, "I was singing since I was 8 years old." So we came together, it just meshed, and then we began to write and so forth. And so I can be walking around the house and I'll just say something, and my husband is always like, "Oh, that sounds like a song." So he goes straight to the tape recorder, on his phone or whatever, and he puts it down. And so then we come back and then we collaborate on the words and things like that. But I mean, I love it. I mean, we're always together. We love each other. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, songs and melodies come in different ways.
Yeah.
Usually it hits me like 2 a.m. and I wake myself up crying, you know, praise and worship. God is just good, you know. And,
well,
Lord
of course,
bless
your
us.
group, the Winans, had a song called "Everything You Touch Is a Song."
Oh, yes. And he blessed us to write over 2,000 songs that haven't been heard
Yeah,
yet.
lots
Wow.
of songs. Like
We're
I said, we
loaded.
have lots of tapes. We have lots of songs.
Yeah. So we're going to get busy, you know.
Yeah.
Starting recording it again.
Moments ago. First of all, those of you just joining us, I'm Eric J. Chambers. This is the Cut Chronicles Live on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. Right now, we have as our guests Juan and Lisa Winans and Michael and Regina Winans, and I'm so delighted having them here. You saw just a moment ago, "You Belong to Me," a song by Juan and Lisa. That's phenomenal. Now let's see a little bit of Michael and Regina in action.
I would like to share with you a little of my time, just thinking of the things my God has done for me. I never will forget the day he set my soul free. Now I have victory, and I know that I'm able to see God. Let me show you. I'm thankful for giving praise, the only one that he's given back to me. And
I know that I'm here because of his mercy and grace. He gave me the courage to fight, go on and run this race. Joy and peace when I was in the midst of the storm, supplied all of my needs. He's always been there for me. I know that I'm able to see a new day. Let me show you the way. I'm thankful for giving praise to him because he's giving back to me. Yeah. Life eternally. I know that I'm blessed. I can see a new day.
let me show you.
The way.
Yeah.
Great job, Michael and Regina, man. Y'all got me wanting to get my groove on. And when they did that at the fair, I was like, wow, I didn't know Michael and Regina can get down like that.
Well, you care we still look young, so you know we try to keep up with everything.
You got to keep that beat, huh? Well, that's awesome. So that was a taste of what you guys are doing. In fact, since you are here locally, I just got a brand new camera, so hopefully we can get together and I can help you guys shoot a new video for,
for sure.
upcoming one of your upcoming songs. That'll be fun.
Looking forward to that. Yeah.
And of course, we have people right now who are watching on YouTube and Facebook Live. And want to give some shout outs right quick to Sylvia Vines, who is in Chicago, who says, wow, over 2,000 songs that you guys have written. And Preacher Man says, greetings to everybody from the San Diego Gospel Radio. He plays you guys as well on his radio program. And we have, if you guys have any questions that you would like to ask Juan and Lisa and Michael and Regina, now is the time to get some of them in. And we'll do that, just like we did last night when we had Will Downing on. Michael, of course, the Winans, your family, back in 1981, I should say. I remember it vividly. It's one of those situations like, where were you when? Well, where was I when I first heard The Question Is? It was in the fall of 1981. I was sitting in my mother's car in Slidell, Louisiana, where I'm from. And I was sitting in front of a laundromat. And this song called The Question Is came on, and it just blew my mind. And it was like, oh my goodness. And when the guy said it was the Winans, at first I thought he said the Winers. And, yeah. But he said it was the Winans.
Yeah.
That song put you guys on the map, and man, you guys have been there to stay. And not only from that CD, introducing the Winans, which was produced again by my late friend Andre Crouch, but
right.
it has spawned an entire multiple generations of Winans. How exciting is it knowing that that seed has germinated into the dynasty that you guys have become?
Unbelievable, unbelievable. 1981, let's go back there because we had just gotten married the May of 1981, me and Regina. So I was already on a high, you know. And then when The Question Is came out, man, that just took us everywhere. And it was on Light Records, which was, you know, what can I say, a gospel label that was prepared to maybe sell 40 or 50,000 units. But the song went secular. It went to secular stations all over the place, and they could not keep up with the demands of The Question Is. And that opened up the door. And what's most exciting is that it saved a lot of souls. Yeah, and that's what's most important. Touched a lot of people all over the world.
Are there any favorites of yours from
We will
that
never
CD?
know. I mean, For We Never Know.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
man.
that's one of my favorites, you know, because I've talked to people from Africa, from Asia, you know, just some everywhere. And you just never know who you can touch through the words of your songs, especially if you're trying to do your best to live what you sing about.
Mm-hmm. And Juan, you weren't even born then, huh? You weren't even a gleam in your daddy's eyes.
Well, you know, I know I look rather young, but I was actually born in July of '81.
Oh, okay. You just made the cut, huh?
So I remember vividly as well.
Do you have any favorite Winans songs from that CD, from that album, I should say?
I don't know that it's from that. It might actually be from that album, but maybe my all-time favorite one. It changes. It kind of depends on the season of life, but recently it's been Trusting God.
Okay, yeah, I remember that one. How about you, Lisa?
Okay, so I have several, but I think Millions is
oh yeah,
one of my favorites. And in its time, growing up in Nashville, Tennessee, and really trying to listen to the right kind of music, a song like It's Time and having something to dance to, having something that was relevant and modern was really impactful for me and really helped with the type of music that I wanted to do and helped me see, okay, I can do gospel music that is upbeat and you can dance to and stuff like that. So that was a really impactful song.
Yeah, I remember that song, and it had a little rap bar in there, and yes, in fact, with that, the Winans were kind of like pressing the envelope on that one at the time.
Oh yeah,
indeed.
Oh yeah,
because you didn't hear a whole lot of rap and gospel music, and I think it was like, okay, if the Winans did it, it's all right.
We got called to the carpet on it every now and then, but we stood our ground.
I'm so glad you did.
And of course, Michael, you guys had an opportunity to perform an Oprah show back in the day. What was that experience like?
Woo! That was nice. We did it about, I think, 4 or 5 times. And she was definitely in our corner. You know, it was, wow. You know, after we did her show, before you knew it was 500,000 sold, records sold. You know, you just pop up on Oprah, it's on.
That's right. That's right. That was gold.
Yes, and we were able to sit down with her, and she was really, you know, touchable and able to, you know, relate. You know, Detroit, Chicago, we were neighbors, and it was great.
Awesome. And what was it like winning your first Grammy? I know you guys have 6 as a group, but what was it like the first time the Winans won a Grammy?
Nothing like the first time. I lost my breath. You know, I was so excited, you know. I ended up kissing my brother Marvin on the cheek, and I said, "What was wrong with you?" Yes, that was the first one. It was great. It just, you know, made you excited that, you know, people really care about you and support you. And it was definitely to the supporters of the Winans family.
And of course, the first time I ever saw the Winans was Thanksgiving night in 1986. A friend of mine in San Diego, Steve Cooper, who says hello to you guys from New Way Ministries there. Well, he brought the Winans in concert on that Thanksgiving night, and that was the first time. And then, of course, you and I and Regina, we would run into each other over the years, and then we ended up bonding. And of course, I've interviewed all of the brothers once upon a time.
Yes.
And but you guys have just really been God's gift to the gospel music industry, and it's just ironic the way that Andre Crouch is the one who basically uh, discovered you guys, for a lack of a better word. But with Andre gone, you guys were. It was kind of like him giving you guys the you're passing the relay torch to you guys, and you've
Yes.
handled it
Yes.
extremely well.
I never forget. I think it was 2 or 3 years before he passed. Me and Regina and our daughter Lachey, we spent the whole day with Andre Crouch
Singing
at his home,
songs,
singing
praising
songs
God.
around.
Oh my
Yes.
God,
Oh
yeah.
man, we had a
It
good
was
time.
wonderful. He didn't want
All
us to leave.
You're right.
We had such an awesome time.
It was awesome.
Awesome time.
And that anointing was still on him.
Yes.
Andre was a great guy. I
Yes, he
used to
was.
attend his church in the San Fernando Valley when I lived there. And then I even traveled as his personal assistant. One time we went to Sarasota, Florida together.
Oh.
And he was a very funny guy.
Yes.
I
Yes,
mean,
indeed.
and sometimes, like after Bible study, man, he would have you laughing so hard. It was amazing. So but I
Yes.
miss my friend.
Yes, I
And
never forget. We had him sign I have the original Man in the Mirror sheet music. And
okay.
he asked me, he said, "How did you get that?" I said, "Well, Andre, all I need you to do is sign it. We're good." And he did.
That's awesome.
We miss him tremendously.
Okay, I got a question here from my friend Patricia Craig out of San Diego, and her question to both couples is, what is it like collaborating with each other? What is it like collaborating not only as a writer, but also as a singer, recording with each other? Juan?
That's a good question. Sometimes it can be challenging to the key that you're in.
Yeah, we always have to talk about his favorite key is B flat, and I like, well, sometimes we have to compromise for
Yes.
me, okay? Because I'm either going to be too high or too low.
Right.
So we have to. That's an area for us, okay? That's
But
Okay.
other than that, everything else is great.
Yeah.
We make it work.
Yes.
I think it's interesting that she asked about the writing process and the performing process. I think for us, the writing process is definitely fun, but that's probably where we have the most rub, because it's like your ideas, you're putting your ideas out there, and I have an idea and he has an idea, and we have to try to, compromise and work and put it together so that we get the best song possible. But then you get the reward of singing it live, and that's
Right.
all fun, and we get to just really relish in what God has given us, and it's wonderful.
And you guys, Juan, you guys haven't had a chance to really perform your newest single live very often. And when that finally happens, that's going to be a beautiful thing when you've got an audience filled with people, and that beautiful, I mean, the music is just amazing in that song.
Well, thank you so much. You're right. One of the most encouraging things has been a couple people have told us, I think that this is a song that will live on, that will have, some longevity in gospel music. And I've said, well, I certainly hope so, because we haven't been able to sing it. So, when you have one of the greatest live performers in the history of music in any genre on your song, you want to be able to have that experience live. And we actually had it one time, the first week in March before COVID broke out. We were in Detroit. It was Uncle Peanut's, Uncle Marvin's birthday, and my dad's birthday. They're twins. And we went, and he asked us to sing the song, and that's the only time we've sang it live.
Wow.
Yep. So hopefully next year, as this vaccine gets out, and we all feel a little bit safer, we can come back and just glorify God together and have a good time singing the song.
Nice.
That's awesome. Okay, let me see if there are some more questions here from the people. Again, everybody, Eric J. Chambers here with Michael and Regina Winans, and with Juan and Lisa. And of course, Lisa, you were a part of a phenomenal group back in the day called Out of Eden.
Yes, thank you.
Tell me about that. I remember them.
So
it was three sisters, right?
My sisters and I, Andrea and Danielle, we started really early on doing music. My mother was basically, intent on us being the girl version of New Kids on the Block.
Okay.
And so I'm dating myself, but we moved to Nashville and met Toby from DC Talk. We sang for him. And a few years later, he signed us to a record contract. And we got to tour all over the world, put out, I think, 6 or 7 records. And really, I think we were just really blessed to have an impact on the lives of young people. And to this day, we get stories. People will hit me up on Instagram saying that our music kept them from committing suicide, that God used our music to help them make better decisions. God used our music to bring them to the Lord. So hearing things like that, words can't express how grateful I am to the Lord for that opportunity.
Well, that's awesome. I'm super proud of you guys. And of course, before we went on the air, I told Lisa, she and I actually met back in 2005. I was on the red carpet at a movie in Atlanta called The Gospel Movie. Mm-hmm. And there she was doing her thing for, was it the Gospel Music Channel?
Gospel Music Channel, yes.
Okay, that was the one.
Yeah,
that was when we met in 2005 and a couple of years before you guys married. And of course, you guys know Virtue, the group Virtue.
Oh, yeah.
But Virtue is my cousins.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, they're my kinfolk from New Orleans, like I am.
And,
and we did a Virtue family reunion like this back in June or July. And I was able to get Ebony, Heather, Karima, and their sister Dion, and it was so much fun as everybody was spread out all over the East Coast for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ebony's over close to us now.
Oh, see again?
Ebony's over in the DMV now. She's close to where we are.
That she is. Yeah. She's a teacher there in the Maryland area.
Oh. And we had a ton of fun. Winans Phase 2 Virtue shows. We had so much fun. I mean, we had a blast.
Speaking of Winans Phase 2, whatever, is the group still together? Because, man, you guys had this one song called Let Him In. And you said he's making love to your heart. I still love that song. And then you also did a really nice rendition of a Bee Gees song.
Yes.
Yeah. Which was, it's interesting. I love that song, Let Him In too, but it's funny because Auntie Gina, you said you grew up Kojic, and I remember going to a Kojic church.
Uh-oh.
And we started singing Let Him In, and they looked at us like, you heathens. That's when we learned the golden rule of knowing your audience. So,
you gotta know.
You gotta know.
That's the last time we sang Let Him In at a Kojic church. But the Bee Gees song Too Much Heaven was actually, it was a treat because that was my dad's idea.
Nice.
Who executive produced the album, and he said, this is song, listen to us. So we all listened to the original version. It was like, okay, like we can get with the Bee Gees a little bit. But he went and he rewrote the song to fit our message and who we are and what we were singing about. And the coolest thing is we had to submit it to the Bee Gees for their approval. And the Bee Gees wrote us back a letter saying, we love what you've done with the song. You have our blessing. And actually added my dad on to that version of the copyright.
Really?
Which is really unheard of. Yeah.
Right.
And gave him writer's credit for our version. So they were really, really kind, sweet about the whole thing. And that was one of the songs that we loved doing live. Too Much Heaven.
Well, I tell you what, for those who have never heard the song, look it up on YouTube or Spotify, whatever music service you have. It's called Too Much Heaven. It is a sweet sound, and you're going to be blessed by it because that one. Now, I still play Let Him In on my show.
I'm glad you do.
Look, I'm saved, but I'm about 88% saved. There's about 12% heathen.
Aren't we all?
And so, but I love that lyric where it said, "Let him make love to your heart."
Yeah.
And that's the truth. Make love, not hate, to your heart.
That's right.
That is the truth. And too often we allow society and kind of modern thinking to kind of steal themes and principles that really belong to God. And so God is love. And this idea that saying that is somehow like prohibited, I'm happy that we push back against that because our audience were kids our age, and I think that they got it and they understood it, and other people did as well. But I think if no one is kind of pushing back or maybe calling you to the carpet, like Uncle Michael said earlier, then maybe you should be pushing the envelope a little bit more.
And that was what, the only time, was that the only project that you guys did together as
It was. Yep.
Winans
It
Phase
was.
2?
It was. It's interesting because we were all so close growing up, and we were all like really like brothers. So Carvin is in the group. He actually is my biological brother. But Michael and Coke, we were all like brothers growing up together, hanging out, spending the night. And then we started the group and had what I think was really great success for a first album, Grammy nominated, gold. It was a great time, and really it was a master class in recording and performing for us. And for me, that's where I fell in love with songwriting. And that's really set me on the trajectory that I've been on for the past, 20 years. That's crazy to even say, but for the past 20 years.
Well,
Yeah, so I'm
why
grateful for
didn't
it.
why didn't Winans Phase 2 continue? Because I thought that you guys were going to be, as it says, Phase 2 of the Winans, and I was expecting great things from you. But I will say this, even if it was a one hit wonder as far as a project is concerned, it was an outstanding piece of work from you guys.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm really grateful to my dad. He had a lot to do with bringing that project together. And we worked with some amazing people. Ultimately, I remember being in a hotel room actually in Los Angeles, California, with the whole group and saying, hey, how do we want to move forward with album 2? And we were all in different places creatively, wanting to do different things. And for us, the reason I mentioned how close we were prior to is because we decided very intentionally, if we go down this road professionally, it could come at the cost of our personal relationships, which we value more than this thing we're doing at this point. We can all go and make records solo, but maybe this is the time to go and do that. And we did. And Coke, Marvin Jr. made an album. Michael made a great album. And then I started primarily just writing and producing for other artists, Mary and some other artists, and now we're back around to the artistry aspect of it. So I think, it's not too late. That's the good thing.
That's right.
You're still young enough.
Yeah.
So maybe there is another phase 2.
Those are the two songs that I've had the most in rotation, and I thought they were the best two songs that were on the project. And Lisa, my buddy Larry Preacherman Thompson, from San Diego Gospel Radio, he said that "It's You" from Out of Eden is still in rotation.
Oh wow! Thank you.
So
That's
is
in
Out of
rotation in my house too.
So is Out of Eden? Are you guys defunct as well?
So as a group, yes.
Okay.
So my sister Andrea, she is a pediatric nurse. She works at Vanderbilt Hospital, and she's doing really well. My sister Danielle is in marketing, and so I think similar to what Juan said, we just ended up having different passions at a certain point. After 14 years of doing music together, we were just ready to try something different. I was really getting into theater, and like you mentioned, getting into hosting and television. Andre was ready to go to school. She's always been our nerd. And she was like, okay, peace out. I'm ready to do something different. And it's been wonderful. We have a wonderful relationship. We love each other very much. We talk all the time. And we're just very grateful for the opportunity that we had.
And of course, you made an appearance on Moesha back in the day.
Yes, which was so surprising to see that come back to life after all these years, thanks to Netflix. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, well, we just have a few more minutes to go. I'm going to look to see if there are any more questions. So, family, those of you who are watching live, if you have questions for Lisa, for Juan, Michael, or Regina, or collectively, now it's the time to do it. And let me ask you guys this. Well, first of all, before I even get to that question, I would like to know what are some of your fondest memories at Christmas time? Thanksgiving is right around the corner. Beginning with you, Michael and Regina, what are some of your fondest memories at Christmas? At Thanksgiving, I should say, and then we'll do Christmas.
Thanksgiving.
Well, I'll just say this. The most important thing to me is being thankful and being grateful to God just for having life, having a mind to want to serve him, to have common sense. That's very important to me, especially in this day and time with a lot of things that I've witnessed. But and just having family, you know, the love and the relationship that you have with your family. You can talk about anything. You love each other. You respect and honor one another. And you just sit around and you sing songs. You play games, and you're just thankful for life. Because this past year, so many people that I know are not here anymore. I mean, I've had friends that lost their husband. They would have been married 40 years this year. And I just mean just across the spectrum. So it's just like every day, just to be thankful and grateful, waking up every day with a thankful and grateful heart unto God because of his mercy and his grace. So that's what's important to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, she covered it all. The one thing I really love is giving my grandchildren everything they asked for. Everything I didn't get. I triple it up on them.
So how many grandchildren you have?
Three. All
granddaughters.
All girls.
Okay. Are they here in Southern Cal?
Two of them, 2 out of 3.
Yeah, one.
Okay. So you get a chance to see them from time to time.
Yes. Oh, yes. All the time.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's my favorite.
Another comment from my friend, Dr. Maria Watkins out of Florida. She says she just want to thank the family for all of your beautiful music down through the years, and what a beautiful gift the Winans family is, and you guys certainly are.
Thank you.
Juan, any fond memories from Thanksgiving?
Being with family, my mom's cooking growing up, and going to Detroit Lions games before I just gave up after so many heartbreaks.
There is hope now, my man. Look, I'm a Saints fan, and we used to be like the Lions back in the day. And in 2006, when Sean Payton came along, then we were able to take those old paper bags and burn them for good.
Good.
So I feel your pain, my brother. My whole childhood was the same way. So.
Man, tough.
Yeah, those are some great. If nothing else, you knew on Thanksgiving Day you're going to see the Detroit Lions, no matter how good or bad
Yes,
they are. So
and
that's
Barry
a tradition.
Sanders was a highlight.
Yes.
And of course, about 4 or 5 years ago, Aretha Franklin did the national anthem at the game, and she took him to church on that one. It was awesome. How about Lisa? Some of your fondest childhood memories at Thanksgiving?
So let's see. One of my favorite memories, my mother has never met a stranger. And so she would basically invite all these people. We lovingly called them strays. But she would invite them. And I remember cooking one Thanksgiving for about 22 people in my mother's kitchen. You know, it wasn't fancy. We didn't have double ovens, but we made it work. And it was just, there was so much love, and just really, we got to love in action. And so that was probably one of my favorite Thanksgivings.
And
Nice.
I was trying to figure out who hadn't put in their money into the pot yet.
Yes. So it's a very expensive endeavor feeding that many people. So we pooled our resources to make it happen. And
Everybody's got to chip in, huh?
Yeah.
Got to chip in.
And Sylvia Vines, an artist out of Chicago, says, since you guys all sing professionally, have you ever written or recorded a song recorded a song for your significant other? Have you ever written a song for Lisa, Juan, or has Lisa ever written a song for you, Juan, or vice versa? Have
I ever written a song? I I don't think so.
Well, you two are prolific
Specifically?
songwriters anyway. So the question is, have you ever written a song for your wife or vice versa?
Yeah.
Maybe we're just not that romantic.
No.
I'm totally sure that Uncle Mike and Auntie Gina have written songs.
Oh, yeah.
I think what it is. I think
A lot of fun.
Right.
What do you say?
I said a ton of songs. We've written, for one of the
They got
other.
2,000. I know they got at least 50. I think what I would say is when someone is so hugely influential, in some way, all the songs that you write, they're woven into the fabric of that creativity.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Very well said.
Okay, now let's go on to the next round. Fondest Christmas memories. Beginning with you, Lisa.
Oh, this one is easy. So this is gonna start off sad, but it has a happy ending. My parents, just fair warning, my parents got divorced when I was 5. And my dad and we were estranged from the time I was 10 until 18, like really seriously formative years. But we reconnected. My sisters and I met up with him, and we had the first Christmas together when I was 19 years old. And when I tell you, I mean, he pulled out all the stops. It was like he was making up for a lifetime of not being together on Christmas. But we had a wonderful meal together. We had all the gifts, and we just had so much love. And since then, God has reunited us. He's restored our relationship, and we have wonderful family Christmases every other year together. Except this year, because of the pandemic, we won't be gathering in person, but we'll be together in spirit.
And your family, they're in Tennessee?
So my dad is in Georgia.
Oh, Georgia. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go Georgia. Georgia went blue for us here recently.
Yeah, we like Georgia now.
How about you, Juan? What are some of your fondest childhood memories at Christmas?
You
remember getting any toys in particular?
Yeah, we always got a lot of Christmas gifts, and they were, we were Pentecostal, so there was no tree. And there was, thank you, Granddaddy. There was no tree.
Really?
Yeah, no tree. And my parents, I don't know if Granddaddy did this, or even if, did y'all get gifts, Uncle Mike?
No.
So maybe that's where it comes from. But my parents never wrapped our gifts. It would just be like a mountain of gifts, just piles. Like that's yours, Juan. That's yours. That's yours. Coming downstairs, walking into the room, and seeing all of this stuff you asked for. But my favorite gift is probably Air Jordans, some 11s.
Okay,
Air Jordans.
nice.
Yeah.
I've never owned a pair, but that's good. Everybody in
We got to fix that. I'm gonna get your address from Gwen as soon as we hang up. We got to fix that. That's a serious problem.
Well, growing up in Louisiana, in a poor household, actually, a single family with 4 of us, most of the time we got stuff like socks, underwear, T-shirts. You were lucky if you got one toy. And so that's why Christmas really is not that big of a deal, because I've never experienced like this plethora of gifts. I go to some people's homes and they have all of these gifts and everything. It's like, really? So that's what it's like. But us, it was like, this is your one pair of underwear for the year, or the 3-pack.
You can't be buying people socks for Christmas.
That's the way we got it. And then also, look, we used to also, instead of having one of the stockings, we would have oranges and apples and the nuts. We would put them in a pan.
Right.
And so everybody had a pan underneath the tree. And I was a grown man before I realized that was a substitute for the stocking.
Is that a New Orleans tradition, or where does that come from?
I don't know if it's a New Orleans tradition, but it was a po' folks tradition. But the thing about it is we had love. So that was the most important thing. As we look back. And even back then, I remember going to Mississippi on many occasions, many summers, and we'd have to shell peas. We'd have to go out and Crowder peas and stuff like that, and we would all have a pot, and we'd be sitting there watching Good Times, Sanford and Son, everybody's shelling peas. So
Wow.
so our traditions were a bit different.
We got to
And
buy
so-
you some gifts. Man. We got to buy you some gifts. ASAP. We gonna send you a basket. It's gonna be full of gifts.
Making up for lost time. Well, so that's why I love Christmas, but I've never been one that was showered with gifts or shower with gifts. So how about you, Michael and Regina? So you said you guys
Mine
go
were
first.
not.
Mine was real short. Mine was real short. Thank God for the goodwill. So
Okay.
able to get a little package, you know, with long underwear in there and a little thing of candy. And we thought everybody was being treated the same way. So Christmas was great. Regina?
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna move it forward to after we got married because they didn't really celebrate Christmas. But my household where I came from, we celebrated Christmas all the time, and we did it in a big way. It's not that my mom and my dad had lots of money, but some kind of way we had lots of gifts underneath the Christmas tree. So that's what I was used to. So then after we got married, my husband was like, well, you know, we don't need a tree and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, we always had trees and we had lots of gifts. So I was happy to be able to go out and buy our son and our daughter just lots of, and my husband, lots of presents. And I wrapped them. I'm very detailed. Wrapped them, streamers, everything. Beautiful. Almost too beautiful to open up. So that was big for us. And so my husband, he finally, as years went on, he finally began to come around, but it was a long time before a tree was allowed in our house. But
Wow.
we have one now.
I did.
That was
I never knew that. I never understood why, you know, I grew up sanctified also, but everybody had Christmas trees.
Yeah, well, we did, yeah.
So
Pagan.
do you put up a tree now?
I do. You know what? I bought one. Was it year before last? I think that was the first time.
You're so happy.
Really?
I've had a little one before, you know, but a very small one with some lights on.
Gina, you had a nightstand tree? Personal tree.
The rebellion tree, a little.
Yeah, mine is a little bachelor tree. It's about 2 feet tall. It's silver tinsel. And I got it because it reminded me of growing up with my grandmother. Remember back in the day, Michael, when they had the color wheels? You know, you'd have a Christmas tree and it had red, green, blue, and orange, that little color wheel.
Yeah.
So that's what I remember. And so I got that tree back in 1992, and I actually still have it to this day.
Wow.
And, because it reminded me of my childhood of going over to Big Mama's house.
Nice.
We all have those kinds of memories. This has been a lot of fun, and again, the people have been enjoying it, and they're cracking up online as well. And so the final question, I wrote a book called Dining with the Ancestors, When Heroes Come to Dinner, and I asked a bunch of celebrities, about 350 of them, if they could dine with anyone from history, who would it be, and what would the conversation consist of? And it could be multiple people, dead or alive, and I'd like to know that as our closing question this evening, because that's the way that I usually end it. Because also it lets people know who people look up to. As I was telling Cedric the Entertainer and Kendrick Lamar, they're in the book. Tyler Perry is a part of it. Taraji P. Henson. And when I would interview them, I would tell them, I said, you guys are heroes to people, but they need to know that even their heroes have heroes. You know, people that you look up to. And so just as an example, some of my all-time favorites were Harriet Tubman, you know, and Sojourner Truth and Dr. King and Mrs. Mamie Till Mobley, Emmett Till's mom, who was a personal friend, and even Sister Rosa Parks, as they are on the wall next to me here behind me. So those are some of the people that I looked up to. So Lisa, who would you want to dine with if you had the opportunity?
Well, you actually said who was the person that I was thinking about, Sojourner Truth. I did a play where I portrayed her mother, and I got a chance to learn a bit more about her. And I think I'm very intrigued with people that take giant leaps of faith with no blueprint. And just the idea of how do you get in your mind that something is possible. And so I would love to chat with her about her journey in faith and her ability to believe that something was achievable that she hadn't yet seen.
Awesome. Juan, who would you want to sit down and chit chat? And it can be multiple people.
I would probably say Frederick Douglass would certainly be one. You know, I believe in God's word, so I know at some point I'm gonna have dinner with Jesus.
Yep.
So I won't put him on this list, but that kind of goes without saying. But I think Frederick Douglass kind of is top of mind. Someone who took it upon himself to educate himself to a really high level, and who was able to bridge the gap between slavery, or, you know, who Black people were thought to be at a certain time, to kind of being in the company of presidents. And so he's a very interesting figure to me. But I mean, there are many, but he's certainly the one that springs to mind.
Well, it's interesting that you brought up Jesus. Actually, the number one out of the 350 or so people that I've interviewed, the number one person was Dr. King, and number two was actually Frederick Douglass, and number three, Jesus came in number three. So, but he was one of my people, him along with King Solomon. So I would need that kind of that Lord's Supper kind of table, so that we can stretch a few people out, so that I could just chit chat with them. Michael and Regina.
Okay, I'll go first, but I'm gonna be real quick. Not so much. I'm speaking about my mom. I'm not looking at her as an ancestor, but I lost my mom 9 years ago, and I was very, very, very close with my mom, and her passing impacted me greatly. But I know she's resting in the arms of Jesus. But I would like, if my mom could come back, I would just love that, because I would love to sit down with her again. She taught me so much of how to be a woman, how to be a wife, and how to be a mother. And when I lost my dad at age 14, my mom stepped up to the plate and she took the helm and she raised 5 wonderful children. So I miss her so much. So she's my one person. And then the other person would be Princess Diana. For some reason, I've had this like for her. One is, I realized that we both got married around the same time, and we both had our children around the same time. And she was such an elegant person to me.
She was.
She was very classy, and she was a princess. My name is Regina. Regina means queen. That's my name for my grandchildren, Queenie. Okay. So I've always kind of looked up to her, and I just was like, wow, she has a lot of class. And I love that. And you can tell it in her walk. So that was very important to me. So she would be someone else that I would just like to sit down and talk. She seems a bit shy. I don't think that I'm shy, but I would just love to ask her a lot of questions, because she had a lot of weight put on her because of her position in life.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times people think it's easy, and it's not easy, because you get judged and people look at you from afar and they don't really know who you are. So I would love to be able to ask her a few questions.
I love that pick, Auntie Gina.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael, who would be at that dinner table
my
with
one
you?
and only hero, which is my dad. I would like to sit down with him even now to congratulate him again, to raising 10 kids. You know, no one ever getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Just to ask him, how'd you do it? You did it with such class, you know. And I mean, he was my best friend, my hero. We did so many things together. You know, we created jobs, me and him together, and just to laugh until we cried, you know. So I miss him greatly, you know. And Gina's mom was someone that was very, very special. Her being a single mom, she really looked at me like, hey, you're not gonna pick my daughter up and run. You know what I mean? Gotta take care of her. Yeah. And she loved me so much. She kept saying to me, you know, I'm trying to write this letter to explain myself on how special you are to me. You're really taking care of my daughter greatly. So I wrote this song called Letter. because she always talked about the letter. She finally gave me the letter
Got it.
decades later, and man, it'll just make you cry. You know, the things she said about me, and just she was so encouraging to so many people, but especially to me.
Fantastic. Michael and Regina Winans, Lisa, Kimmy Winans, Juan Winans, man, it has been a pleasure having a Winans family reunion here tonight. And thank you guys for agreeing at the last minute, especially Lisa and Juan. This was just orchestrated on today through your publicist, my friend GQ, Gwendolyn Quinn, who also was the publicist for the great Aretha Franklin.
Yes.
And so you guys are got one heck of a publicist on your hand there, because she's been in the presence of some incredible artists along the way.
Indeed. Well, thank you for having us. It's been a real treat. It's been a lot of fun.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. How long, Juan, are you here in Southern Cal?
Until maybe Monday or Tuesday. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy your time here. I don't know what the weather is like on the East Coast, but actually last week the weather was really nice there.
It was great.
It was. It's chilly now.
Okay. Yeah.
It cooled off, huh?
It sure did.
Yeah, because that weekend after the election, when all the people were out at the White House, and I looked, and it was like, it's 75 degrees, because I saw a lot of people with shorts and T-shirts on. And so I had to do a quick Siri search on my phone. It's like, Siri, what is the weather in Washington, D.C. right now?
Yeah.
The weather was celebrating.
That was a beautiful thing. Any thoughts on Kamala Harris becoming the vice president-elect? What did you guys think of that? Isn't that awesome?
Fantastic.
Historic.
Fantastic. Yep.
Yeah.
A long time coming.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Speaking of another one of the Winans songs, it's been a long
Right?
but a change is gonna come, huh?
Amen.
Gotta come.
Okay, family. Once again, thank you guys so much. Again, for the family who've been watching, thank you guys for tuning in. And I'm looking at all of the people: Patricia Craig, Preacher Man, Sylvia, Denise, Pamela Denise Brockman down in Georgia sends her love to you guys. And we thank God for Georgia coming through for democracy, not just for us, but for democracy, actually.
Yes.
And vote in the runoff. The work is
right.
still more work to be done. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are watching, be sure to tune in to my show this coming Sunday morning, beginning at 8 o'clock it's 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And the special is Winans To The Maxx. It's going to be all Winans all the time. Angie and Debbie. We have moms and pops is going to be a part of that. The Winans themselves, BB and CC, Winans Fades too. I might have to put a little let him in there.
Hey, jump it in, man. It's your world. It's your show. Can't it's all good.
Yeah, in fact, I will do that. And then Daniel Winans and Vicky. Daniel is one of the Winans that we very rarely see. I met him when I first started my show 26 years ago. It was back in 1994, the one and only time that I met him. But he's got some tremendous chops himself. And I never see him around, but man, I love his music. And so he'll be a part of that also. Again, Winans To The Maxx.
He's like the Robert De Niro of the Winans. He's like
really?
the Robert De Niro. Yeah, he's a recluse. He's doing his own thing, but he's incredibly talented.
And of course, Angie and Debbie, I miss those girls, doing their thing back in the day. And of course, I also have Angie's single, her single solo CD with The Lord's Prayer and Changing My Whole Heart, which she did a kind of like a remake of a Roberta Flack song, Killing Me Softly, with that same thing. And so you guys are just an amazing family. And we thank God for this family called the Winans. You guys are treasures, and I just really wish you the absolute best. And Juan and Lisa, prayerfully, your children will continue the tradition as well. Actually, they have no choice. They got a singing mama and a singing daddy. So they have no choice. So again, that's it, family. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you guys again. Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, KIFM.com is the location. Until next time, God bless you. God bless me. God bless us all. Michael and Regina, Lisa and Juan, bidding you guys a very pleasant evening.
All right, nephew. Peace. Bye-bye.
Love y'all.